After a whole hour, maybe half an hour of troubleshooting, the problem with my stream was that the information that I was using was outdated, meaning I had to um excuse me, I had to re-download a freaking thing. I had to re-download a freaking thing for the instrument. It was outdated. 2 days ago they released another file that you have to fucking put in some fucking folder for the thing to work. And that's where we're at right now. So let's see if I'm still rented. Am I still rented? Am I in a flight or some shit like that? Hold on. Let's see. Open X economy, log in, start flight. Alright. Fuck you mean? Fuck you mean flight's not in progress? K-Mob? Yeah, I'm supposed to be in K-Mob. Hold on. It's supposed to be right here. K-Mob. Start flight. I have no rented aircraft. What the fuck? Of course I have rented aircraft. I'm looking at it right now. It's saying that it's fucking airborne. Well, start flight. You fucking serious? Hold on. Okay, mob. Alright, so we're gonna fucking rent this one real quick. There's already an aircraft selected. No, there is not. This plane is not airborne. I'm supposed to be a K-Mob. Where the heck am I? Yeah, I'm a fucking K-Mob. What the fuck? Hold on. Let's shift location K-Mob, see what happens. Oh. Am I in K-Mob? I'm in fucking K-Mob. Maybe the motherfucking gate is not K-Mob? Hold on. Alright, let's move. Let's move and check if I'm not in K-Mob and this is another airport. Let's go right in the middle of the runway. Log out and log back in. Something's going on. flight. Why am I supposedly airborne? Cancel this fucking flight progress. Oh, alright, there we go. So now I am ready to go. Pretty windy here. Well, that's just probably me. Alright, I'm going from KMOB to KAVL. If I'm correct. KAVL. Direct. Doesn't want to go in reverse. Come on. Apparently that reverse is all messy. Alright. 1111. Transponder. C. Alright. Estimated time en route 1. KATL. No, KMGAM. GE is the correct destination. Alright, let's check Zulu time right quick. Zulu time. Zulu time is 7:15. So 7:25 sound about right. I'm not gonna take that long. 15,000 altitude, 5,000 knots, or TAS, 500 knots, all the way up, direct. I'm gonna send the freaking, oh, I'm not connected, connect, Lear, Jet, 24, alright, send flight plan, flight plan's been sent. Let's the plane is refuel.
I'm not sure.
Start. I got 294 gallons.
The sum of 200 gallons and 94 gallons is 294 gallons.
Okay. K. L. A. V. Wait, hold on. No, KAVL. Alright, here we go. 403 miles. Let's fucking remove this from this because we're already at the edge of death. Airport navigator, hide the map. We're gonna fucking move this shit up to 15,000 feet. It's gonna be a dark flight, by the way. We're flying dark, and then when we get there, we're gonna take a flight. Alright. Now that we're here, we just turn this plane to the left a little bit. Oh. Speed this shit up a little bit because we're late as hell. Yeah, well, the entire problem with the stream was that I had to download a new document. The thing that I used didn't work without that new document. And immediately the second I turned it back on, it turned on. So I just got to be careful. And it updates pretty frequently. The document that used it, that supports the PFD, updates instantly. Not instant. It's not that instantly, but updates pretty often. Let's make sure I got real weather, because you know we like to fly realistic. Let's turn on the beautiful green. Dude, I'm in reverse and this thing is not moving. Why? Alright, something's going on that my reverse is not working today. Let's get out of here. Ready to go. Now we're near, and this thing's gonna go autopilot. What we gotta check is the fuel, the distance. Now we got 404 nautical miles here on this flight, and then at KAVL we're gonna catch a flight with passengers. So we're just in transit to pick up passengers. In transit to pick up passengers, and they are still there, so we're good. And we're going to travel another 400 miles north. I'm currently moving north or northeast, and the next one is going to be straight north, another 300 miles north, and we should be close to home. And then after that, maybe I'll go to sleep. Maybe I'll do some missions nearby, but that's how it's looking right now. Let's see how well I gotta help a little bit. Let's see how well the GPS is locking into altitude. Sometimes if it's going too fast, it's not gonna lock the altitude. The PFD is not gonna lock the altitude, but sometimes it does. Getting close. It better lower the nose. If not, I'm going to have to help it by pressing altitude once again. It's fucking sounds are way too loud. Let's go interior, very low. I mean, yeah, just low. Very high here, but low. Let's see how. Yeah, like that. Alright, let's see if it's. Alright, so I'm reaching altitude, the note's going down, we're alright. We don't have to worry about it going to the sky, because it's efficient in terms of fuel economy, it's efficient, but when you're stressing the amount of miles, you know, when you're being specific in the amount of gas that you need to get to places, climbing a little bit too much, like, you know, adding another 15,000 feet you didn't have to go up to, would burn more gas. Way more gas. Like 20, 40 gallons of gas by just going up. So we're on our way. We are on our way. We're going to North Carolina, and then from North Carolina we're headed to Michigan. And then from Michigan, let's check the, and from Michigan, which is right there, I'm going all the way east home, because I should be fairly close to the destination, to the final resting destination of this plane. Alright, I'm going to put it nearby, and it's going to play that I use every day. If I'm going to fly, this is what I like to fly. It's fast, it's cheap as hell, I found it in the middle of Canada. It's the plane that I'm going to continue using. I'm in the holes. I don't know why I'm going down in altitude. My wheels are up. Everything is. I have no idea why I'm going down, but we're gonna ignore the plane. The plane seems nominal. Anti-ice, beacon, nav lights, strobe lights, land lights, generators. Everything seems nominal. We're at altitude again.
To use. You wouldn't eat it because you would die. Hold on, we're gonna find another.
Alright, we should be definitely looking for some music to listen to, so let's see what I can find. And this flight is pretty fast. We basically we've eaten 50 nautical miles in like a second. We have sort of extras, so we should be alright. This is the key here. The range goes faster than your destination. So you have to sort of watch it for a little bit. I'm currently 100 miles over, so I'm alright. But that gap could end in a second. That 100-mile gap could be way less than that. So which would just force me to go down on the nearest airport to just get gas. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Out we go. Hold on. Specific baggie around here. And I could do multiple things at the same time and listen to something that I need to listen to. Hold on 1 second. It's a long flight. I'm gonna put some music on in a second. Give me a break. Been sifting here through the back of my things. I can't find anything that I'm looking for whenever you're looking for it. It's pretty funny. Hold on. Gotta go search in the bags of baggies. I had a green one, super close to the mouth of everything. Where's the purple one? Purple one? Oh, the purple one's right here. Oh my goodness, such a mess. So yeah, long flight. No one on board. Just relaxing. I had the purple one in my hand a second ago. There it is. Purple ones. Yep. love it when you organize something so well, it makes the worst mess. Like, you should see the type of mess that I have right now. Alright, got it. Thank the living Jesus. I have the communication medium with the other one. Ah. It's pretty funny. So yeah, on track, 261 miles to go. So these flights are extremely fast. It's a 400-mile flat. You know, it was a 400-mile trip, and I'm already halfway. That's why I like this plane. That's precisely why I like this plane. Basically, if you buy it brand new, it has America, like a jet airplane, or for the most part, almost like a modern military air, like almost like a modern one. Hold on. I'm sitting here arranging cables out of many that fell from my grip as I was putting them back in place. I was way too organized with them. And looking for one undid the whole group. Alright. Where's the baggie? The baggie. With all the cables. I got a bunch of headphones that are good. And some are bad, some are good. But they're still good. They still in the dire need of a headphone You have a bunch of them. Alright, so there we go. We are on our way. Let's look at this bag here. I'm sitting here organizing all the expensive stuff that I'm hiding from the rest of the household, because things are coming up missing, and I don't like things to be coming up missing like that. So put the fucking bag in here. Bag goes in here. Bag goes in here. Another fucking cell phone, another mouse. All this gas goes here on the front. And we're ready to continue enjoying our stream. I know it's pretty boring. Right now there's no AT, I mean there's no tower support. So there isn't much. If there were, if I were to be streaming during the day, I would have like ATC, and I mean there is some control right now. Hold on. Apparently there is some control. Alright, so we got 309 nautical miles, 141 out of trip left. We should be alright. Let's see how close he's going to be to my landing. I doubt he's going to put me down on the ground, but that's how it works. Yeah, I'm basically going right over him at 15,000 feet. He's not directing me because he didn't take me off or put me down, and I'm not headed to his airport, so he's just doing. He's working his area. I'm coming. I'm having tailwind. I'm getting like a I'm getting like a tailwind at 12 knots. Alright. So it quieted down for him. He might just disconnect in a second or two. I was 15 nautical miles from him, and I'm at 33. So I'm gonna put another 100 miles on me. I'm gonna put another 100 miles to the last center online, or for the most part, the last center on this particular location. And that's it. Yeah, it's pretty windy down there. That's why I'm losing my altitude. I'm at 15, and I'm still sort of moving. Like it's pushing me down. And it's a tailwind, but it's sort of bringing me down to the ground. So yeah, 50 miles from the last station. Wave goodbye to Justin. Bye, Justin. We're almost there. Justin's probably gonna see my victory here. He's gonna be like, what? He's gonna want to do it, but you know, I'm out of his range. I'm gonna be out of his range. It's gonna be like 100. Alright. 31, we should be going down. Let's lower all this stuff. And I'm pretty sure this is my destination, straight ahead. Alright. Let's get aligned with the wrong way and put this bird down right quick. We don't want to listen to it right now. It's just like da da da. I'm gonna press right toe. Get aligned with the wrong way. Shut gas down. Put her down. Nice and cold. A freezing landing. Did he get off? Hold on. Let's see if the freaking tower is off. Hold on. Oh, the tower's still watching me, probably. He's watching me go down. Alright. So Atlanta is officially off, and I could get out of here. See that? You see that landing? That was ice cold, baby. That was ice cold and deadly. All types of weird. Come on. Alright. I'm pretty sure. Alright, now we're gonna pick up 4 people. We'll try to make it as realistic as possible. I would have done it, but I would have already taken off. But obviously, there's people fucking, you know, there's people out there watching me and shit. Finish flight. 81 gallons on board. We are at KAVL. Okay. Now we're going to Michigan. KAVL. Now we are going to Michigan, baby. All the way. That's wait, rent a plane, rent dry. Fuck you mean? Refuel then. Goddamn 4 gallons. Refuel. 294. There we go. I'm full. We're going to Michigan. Add selected flights to my flight. Start flight. There we go. Got these corporates in here. Press reverse. Let's see if I move. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna check altitude. Alright, here we go. We're going to KDVL. Hold on. Flight started. Where is it? Is he still there? No, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. Alright. Stop the flight. Alright. KAVL. 2KDTW. Alright, estimated time en route, probably 1 hour. If you're on board, 1 hour. Before we get there, which is Michigan, we're going from wherever the fuck we are to Michigan right here. It's probably right in between. Hold on. Right here, right in between. Hold on. Alright, where the heck is this plane at? Alright, apparently my freaking... I'm wasting gas. And my nav map is not on. Are you fucking serious, desktop? There we go. Alright. KTW, I still need the alternate airport. Hold on. By the time this freaking thing loads, let's set it up. KD. K. T. Detroit, Michigan, straight to Detroit. Alright, here I am. Going straight to Detroit? God damn it. Why is this thing so laggy? Alright, cause this fucking shit's on. Alright, here we go. I'm wasting that gas. I'm gonna have to put some gas in it again. Hold on. One in between. God damn it, come on, zoom in. In between there and Detroit, what do we have? Let's do KCAK. KCAK. And if that was 7:30, this is 8 Zulu or 8 Zulu, 825 Zulu. I'm gonna do VFR because we don't know what the fuck we're gonna find up there. IFR because we don't know what the fuck we're gonna find on the way. And let's just send it in. We sent it, flight plan. I don't want to be too low. I don't want to hit a fucking 15,000 feet mountain on my way. Let's hope I'm still at 94. Yeah, it's gonna be short. I'm not gonna need the excess gas. Here we go. Let's get out of here. We're gonna do 18,000 feet, not 15. Gotta fix that before we go. Up, 15,000 feet. I mean 18,000 feet because it's IFR. There we go. At the bottom of IFR. go. Up we go. Wait, am I in the fucking runway? Is this a runway? This is not a runway. It looks like a runway, but it's not a fucking runway. That's pretty funny. It looks like a runway, but it is not. This is the freaking runway. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright. Let's passengers in. Stop. Right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be shortly starting our in-flight entertainment system on the screen in front of you and also on the screens at the front of the cabin. You can also turn on additional features such as subtitles and as well as change languages using the remote.
Scream and a little yank, but we're on our way. Pressed up the freaking wheels and it did not go up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed the altitude of 10,000 feet. All electronic devices may now be switched off from airplane mode. This aircraft is equipped with Wi-Fi. Please see a flight attendant for more information.
Right, so we've got a 22 knot side crosswind, 22 to the side. Obviously the polar vortex, or the polar wind behind. Pressure from the North Pole pushing downwards. The winter winds, basically. The winter high altitude winds are hitting me right now at 22 to the left. But we're already 385 from Michigan. I'm in North Carolina. I'm headed to Michigan like a bullet. And my gas says 561 nautical miles, so I'm okay. I'm always on top. Let's put some music. It's time for some music.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be serving you with cold drinks and a light snack.
You probably know you need life insurance, but you worry you'll have to deal with long applications, expensive premiums, and medical exams. Introducing EthosLife.com. With Ethos Life, you can apply in minutes, 100% online. Ethos offers affordable life insurance policies from top-rated carriers with no medical exam. Now you can sleep easy at night knowing your family's financial future is protected. Visit EthosLife.com and get your free life insurance quote today. Ethos Technologies Inc. operates in California as Ethos Life Insurance Services. Not available in all states and prices subject to underwriting and certain health questions.
Welcome to Creepy California and True Scary Stories with Spooky Boo. Tonight I have 3 Reddit stories for you that are very, very creepy. Stories about window watchers, peeping toms, and other creepers. Reasons why you should have shades on all of your windows at night. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you to visit to www.scarystorytime.com and find out about all of my podcasts, where I write horror stories about Sandcastle, California, on Spooky Boo's Scary Story Time, and Creepypasta Scary Stories. You can subscribe to one or subscribe to them all. Also, you can come chat with us on Saturday nights on Creature Features. www.creaturefeatures.tv. Log into your YouTube account and subscribe. It's a lot of fun. Now let's begin. The Man in My Window. Everything in this story really happened. It all started when I moved in with my sister in her new house. I was given the smallest room, but it had a small door on the wall. I never went in there at first, but curiosity took over me like I had just had to see what was behind that door. When I opened the door, I grabbed the flashlight because it was pretty dark and I couldn't see. I went inside the little room. It was filled with cobwebs like no person had been there in a very long time. It was creepy in there until I noticed the floorboards, like they had something put under them. I struggled to lift them, but when I did, I really wish I hadn't, because what was there scared me. It was a drawing that looks like it was made by a little kid. It was of a man that was really tall with no face, and there was no word at the bottom of the piece of paper. The Man in My Window. After I read this, I was scared even more than I was before. I was so scared that I dropped the paper and left the small room. I didn't sleep for weeks, not because of what I said, but what it felt like, that I was being watched or something. And something bad was going to happen to me or others. When this stopped, I decided to go back into the little room. When I did, I found more under the floor. I found pictures that looked like a little girl about 5 years old and an old teddy bear. After that, I left, not wanting to go back again. I tried to calm down, and when I went on my phone while sitting on my bed, I turned it off. I could see a reflection behind me in the window that looked like the man in the drawing. I turned around to see that it was real. I screamed at the top of my lungs until my sister ran to my room to see it. After that, we moved out of that house and very far away. But I still get the feeling that someone is watching me, and sometimes I see the man in the distance. To this day, I am still scared of what I saw. The creepy guy in my window. So this happened when I was 12 years old. I was alone in my room chatting with friends at 2 a.m. It was a few days before New Year's, so a lot of people were usually roaming the streets at night, going home from parties and such. My room had these curtains, which if my blinds weren't closed, you could see into my room. On this unfortunate night, I had forgotten to close my blinds, and I was sitting in my bed, so any creep could come and peek into my fucking window and see me. Just a little note here. At the time, I lived on the first floor of an apartment complex with my family in a quiet town in Finland. I was in the middle of a conversation with my best friend when I heard a slight knock at my window. I ignored it, thinking it was just the cold winter air messing with the window. A few seconds later, I heard the knock again, but louder. This was when I made a big mistake. Me, being the paranoid-ass person I am, I did not check what was happening at my window. Just 10 seconds later, someone started violently banging at my window. I was scared shitless. I immediately moved to the corner of my room because at that moment I realized I had not closed my blinds. The banging got louder and louder. I thought my window was going to break. At that moment, I should have rushed to my parents' room, but I was frozen. Soon enough, the man started yelling at my window. It was pretty much inaudible. He was clearly drunk. I could tell by his voice. Then he shouted so loud I could hear him, "Avanyetse Paska Kuna," which roughly translates to "open the fucking window." At that moment, I almost started crying until I heard my neighbor's dog barking. My neighbor always went on long walks at night with his dog, and thank God he came at the right moment. My neighbor started yelling furiously while his dog was still barking out of his mind. I heard them argue for a while until eventually it quieted down. I had to wait about 15 minutes until I could check the window again. And I have absolutely no idea what happened to the guy banging at my window. He just completely disappeared, and my neighbor never brought it up. At this moment, you might be thinking it was a dream, but I swear that it was not. I never told my parents. They still have no idea what happened that night, and probably never will.
Whatever you're funny, Peacock's got it exclusively. Stream classic sitcoms like The Office, Parks and Recreation, and 2.5 Men. Plus, catch Peacock original comedies like AP Bio and Saved by the Bell. For all your exclusive comedy faves, go to peacocktv.com and get started.
The Man and the Screen Window. I'm a female, and the story I'm about to share with you happened almost 10 years ago. At the time, I was 17 years old, and like most teenagers my age, I was content to lock myself away in my room with my laptop and headphones. In autumn of that year, my parents went up north for the weekend. We live in Michigan, and the Upper Peninsula is famous for its scenery that time of year. I was left with the house to myself for the entirety of the whole weekend and thought nothing of it. I enjoyed my privacy and didn't mind being alone. Let me tell you about my house and where we lived. Our house is very old and a modest dwelling. 2 floors and a basement. All the bedrooms are on the first floor, since the second floor is an unfinished attic. The house itself is about 8 miles from the nearest town. The backyard is pretty large, with an even larger cornfield stretching for acres and acres, separating property from the lake on the other side of the trees. The cornfield stretches partially around the house, creating a wall between our house and our neighbors to the east. It wasn't isolated by any means. There are 5 houses very near, one on each side of 3 across the street. A local hunter, a farmer, a retired couple, a construction worker, and the local preacher were the people I called neighbors. It's a quiet road, little traffic, and only the occasional coyote howl to disrupt the night. A nice, calm place to live. It was day 2 of my weekend alone. It was a chilly evening, so I shut my window and locked it before I huddled on my bed with my laptop. I've always been a big fan of urban legends, especially legends that have some truth woven into the tale. Truth always makes a good story better and makes a scary story all the more frightening. That night, I had no idea I was about to take part in my own scary tale. While zoning out on my laptop, watching horror videos and reading stories online, I heard an odd noise over my headphones. I pulled one speaker away from my ear and focused on the sound. The sound was coming from my window. My bedroom is a corner bedroom, and as a result I have 2 windows. One window facing my neighbor to the west, and the second faced the backyard. It was the second window that had the strange noise. At first I thought leaves and loose branches were getting blown against the screen, since it was fall and the weather in Michigan can get pretty harsh and unpredictable. But my reasoning didn't quite fit with the sound. It wasn't a banging or rattling. It was like metal wires snapping. I removed my headphones and used my laptop screen as a light to see where I was walking without putting glare on the window's glass. The curtains and blinds beneath were drawn, preventing anything outside from being able to see inside. I was nervous about looking outside. I was alone, and I had no idea what was going on. I hugged my wall as I slipped my fingers on the curtain slowly, and carefully pulled down one of the blinds so I could look outside. There, standing in the darkness outside my window, was a person holding a knife, cutting at my screen. My heart skipped a beat as my blood ran cold. My instincts told me not to make a sound and stay out of sight. I slid down my wall and crawled on my hands and knees to my cell, sitting on the small table next to my bed. I called 911 and whispered everything to the person on the other line. I told them someone was outside my window and he had a knife and that I was alone. The operator stayed on the line with me and kept reassuring me that the police were on the way. I could hear my screen being cut open. I kept telling her I wanted to run, but she insisted I stay put and didn't make a sound. Suddenly, the snapping of the screen wires being cut stopped. I listened and almost screamed in fear when I heard a new sound. The knife was digging at the wooden frame of the window, and the man tried to pry it open from the outside. The motion light in the backyard suddenly flashed on seconds before the red and blue lights of the arriving police cars shone through my other window. I listened carefully and heard someone running from the car to the backyard. I could also hear the radio clicking on and off as they checked the area. A loud knock at the front door made me jump. I heard a man call out for me, identifying himself as a cop. Still scared, I opened my bedroom door and crept down the hall. I peeked into the living room and didn't see anything. The knocking persisted, and the cop again identified himself. I peeked through the window of the front door and saw him standing there, his eyes still checking the yard. I flung open the door and almost pulled the cop inside my house, just so happy to see somebody else. He asked if I was okay and if I could give a description of the man I saw. I couldn't. He was wearing all black and had a hood pulled up, which shrouded his face. All I could do was describe the large hunting knife he used to cut my screen. His partner joined him on the front porch and told us he didn't see anyone in the area. I kept insisting on what I saw, and of course they believed me, since the patrolling cops saw damage on the screen. The cops did a second sweep of the property and made sure every single window was secure and that the doors were locked and the garage was secure. Before leaving, the cops told me they'd keep a patrol car in the area, but they were confident that whoever I saw wouldn't be back. They just figured it was some teenager who was trying to break through my window and got scared when the police car arrived. I thanked them and proceeded to double-check the locks for myself. I wanted to call my mom, but I knew my parents were already on their way home and would be back by morning. Unable to get back into my room, I chose to sleep on the couch in the living room and tell my parents as soon as they walked through the front door. About an hour later, I was finally able to relax and started to drift out on the couch. I heard a loud bang against my back door. I sat straight up and looked through the kitchen and to the back mudroom that leads to the back door. This time I knew I was in danger. I grabbed my cell and dialed 911 again. This time I ran back into the kitchen and grabbed a large knife from the butcher's block and huddled on the floor against the counter and cabinets. I pressed the phone to my ear. As the operator, a man this time, continued to talk to me so I didn't feel alone. I gripped the knife tighter and began mentally trying to psych myself up. If this man managed to get inside, would I be able to defend myself? He had a knife, maybe that's why I grabbed one too, but I didn't know anything about him. How tall was he? How strong was he? Did I even stand a chance? I heard the wood on the door frame crack. The old door was locked on by a chain. One more hard kick would surely bring the door down, and then I didn't want to think about it. I prepared for the final bang for the door to give in, and for that man to attack me when I heard a voice yelling over the banging noise, "Get on the ground, drop the knife." "Oh, thank God," I said out loud, "the cops are here." The operator on the line, who had been speaking to me throughout the entire ordeal, continued to try and keep my calm. I listened to the cop order the man to drop the knife over and over again, but I just knew the crazy bastard wasn't listening. Then there was another bang, but it wasn't from someone kicking the back door, it was from firing a gun. It was silent, and time seemed to stand still. A gentle knock at the door drew my attention. The same cop as before was once again identifying himself at the door. I told the operator a cop was at the door and hung up. I opened up the door and the knife still in my hand. The cop saw it and very calmly suggested that I put it down. My hand was gripping the knife so tightly that my knuckles were white and my fingers were cramped. When I dropped the knife, the cop escorted me from the front door into his car, which was parked in the side yard. Under the motion lights of the backyard, I could see his partner standing over the body of the man in black. I could see his knife lying on the ground just inches from his hand, and even from the distance I knew there was blood on the blade. The man himself looked like he had been dead for weeks. His hood had fallen from his face, revealing it to the night. He was white and impossibly pale. His skin was unnaturally aged with heavy wrinkles and lots of discoloration. His hair was long, stringy, and blonde. His eyes, still open, were sunken into his skull. I was taken to the police station to deliver a statement and to ensure that there were no other attackers on my property. When I told them everything I knew to the interviewing cop, another cop walked into the room with a file in his hands. He whispered something to the first cop and handed him the file. I asked the cop if they knew who the man was, and he nodded. I asked to know who he was and what he wanted. At first the cop didn't want to tell me, but I needed to know. I managed to coax him into telling me, and part of me wishes I had let it go. The man was a chronic junkie who abused any and all drugs he could get his hands on. He was also a violent schizophrenic with bipolar disorder. He used to live in the area until he was finally locked up in a mental hospital about 20 years prior. The act that got him locked away all of those years ago was a result of his attempt to burn down a local church, declaring that he was the true Son of God, and that all religious figures, priests, ministers, etc., were false prophets and tools of Satan. The cops figured that he was trying to break into my house because he thought it was where the preacher had lived. He had the wrong house and would have killed me anyway had he gone in. After a moment of letting this sink in, I asked why the cops didn't see him the first time I called. His answer sent shivers up my spine, and now I never look at my backyard the same. He told me that the man had hidden in the cornfield the first time and was watching the house from between the rows. He had never left. He was always there, watching the house and waiting for the police to leave. He was truly crazy, and I'm glad he won't be around anymore.
The best in internet and entertainment is here, and it's all powered by Xfinity for one unbelievable value. Introducing breakthrough Wi-Fi speed, now faster than a gig. That's enough to handle every device in the house and then some. And with X1, you get access to live TV and top streaming apps. Upgrade today with Xfinity. Check out our internet and TV offers. And now through March 15th, ask how to get a free upgrade to gig speed for a year. Now 20% faster. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Gig offer limited to standard plus more with 2-year agreement and compatible X5 gateway.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change. Like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller, poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber, signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.
This scary story is brought to you by Spooky Boo and Scary Storytime at www.scarystorytime.com. Someone attacked our scout camp. One summer I went camping with my troop, and it was the last time that I had camped. I didn't stop camping because of what happened. I just grew out of it. But that doesn't mean that it didn't scare the crap out of me. It was late one night, and our chaperone fell asleep early. He normally didn't do this, but we'd think that he was coming down with something during the trip. We let him fall asleep, then we all huddled by the fire and told scary camping stories while we roasted marshmallows. At about 10 p.m., we all went to our tents to sleep. Of course, we didn't sleep. We did the Morse code we learned that day through our tents to talk to each other. It was pretty funny since we didn't know what we were really saying and guessed most of it. About an hour later, we all started to fall asleep tent by tent. I was almost there, kind of half dreaming and half awake when I heard the footsteps outside my tent. I thought they were the footsteps of our counselor, but they were weird. It was almost as if one foot was lazy and the other would drag behind it. I unzipped my tent and peered out. There was a man who looked like an old hunter, with a plaid shirt and a huge knife just walking around the camp. He was getting into all of the boxes and ice chests, pretty much ignoring the tents. Then he started snooping around the actual tents. First he went to Robbie's tent. He unzipped it and peered in, then closed it. He did this to each tent till he got to mine. I fell back and pulled the sleeping bag over my head. "I know you're awake," he grumbled. I was shivering and ready to pee my pajama pants. He hadn't hurt the others, so I'm sure that he wouldn't hurt me. Then I thought about what would happen if he knew I saw his face. A million scenes ran through my head, none of them good. I have an old hog to cut up. I watched the tip of this knife run down the side of my tent. You can come watch if you want. They bleed a lot. I think you would like it. Tears welling in my eyes, I pulled the sleeping bag further over my head. "I bet you bleed a lot, too," he laughed. Then I heard our boxes getting kicked over and thrown. He was pouring our drinks out when the camp chaperone came out of his tent, probably because of all of the noise. "Hey, what's going on?" he shouted at the guy, and I could hear him trying to dial the numbers on his cell phone while forgetting we didn't have cell phone service where we were. It must have scared the creep away because I could hear the bushes rustling nearby as he hobbled off. The next morning we packed everything up and went to the park ranger station to report the incident. I had a slice of my new tent that I wasn't too happy about. There were no reports of anyone living in the area that resembled the old man, except about 20 years back, some old guy fell off one of the cliffs over the river and was thought to have drowned. He had a limp from his leg not completely working right, or it was bit by a dog from a campsite he was raiding one time. Everyone thought he was dead, but obviously he wasn't.
If you thought you had to travel far to savor the pad thai of Bangkok, or to taste the pastries of Paris, take another look. With 2 times total points at grocery stores, your same kitchen can come with more cuisines. Sapphire preferred from Chase? Make more of what's yours.
Valid up to $1,000 in purchases per month from November 1st, 2020 to April 30th, 2021. Account subject to credit approval. Card issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
I was a Boy Scout growing up and had a lot of fun with some lifelong friends. There was one camping incident that really stuck in my head, though. The chosen spot was one we all had to hike to. We had our backpacks and gear and made it up to the trail. It was about 85 degrees outside and felt like 120 carrying the backpacks and our other supplies. There were cabins at the top of the hill and a nice little campground. Our scout leader wanted us to experience the hiking, so he had parked his car up at the campsite for any emergencies before he hiked up the hill with us. Once we got there, we unpacked everything and were really relieved that we had little cabins to stay in, as it was kind of cold at night in the mountains. We set up camp, and by the time we were done, it was dinner time. We cooked hot dogs over the fire, and while we ate, we went over a few details about camping, Poison Oak, and a little bit of history of our troop. Then we started to tell urban legend stories. One kid asked if we had heard about Bigfoot. Of course all of us had, so we laughed about it. No one really believed it. He was ridiculed for the rest of the night until we all went to bed. While we were all sleeping in our cabins that night, something got into all of our supplies. Whatever it was did it real quiet-like because none of us woke up during the night. Our food was scattered everywhere. Our counselor said it was probably a skunk, and we were lucky that we didn't see it, or we would spend the rest of the trip smelling. We helped him salvage all that was left and locked it in his car. Luckily for us, he already had brought extra knowing something like this might happen. So we were still well fed and ready for the next few nights. The next night while we were sleeping, I awoke to this really weird grunting noise. Thinking that it might be a skunk, I didn't look at first, but I heard heavy, padded footsteps. Curious, I peered out through the cabin window and suddenly couldn't breathe as I saw it. It was this ape-like thing, about 9 feet tall and really super hairy. It had a face that looked more human than ape, though. I slid to the floor, pulling my knees up to my chest, shaking. I wasn't going to let this thing know I was awake. The next morning, the campsite looked normal, except where the counselor went to his truck, we could hear all kinds of swearing. We ran over and saw what happened. There were big claw marks in the side of the door where something tried to pry the door open. I saw a creature last night. It was real hairy and it looked like a man. Maybe he did it? I squeaked. The counselor looked over at me, slightly annoyed. What probably did this was a bear. What you saw was probably in a dream from all those Bigfoot stories you guys were telling. I was insulted and upset. I wasn't one to argue with people who were older than I, so I just settled it inside. The next night, though, something weird happened. When I woke up, my cabin door was ajar and someone had left a trail of food to my cabin. There was more cursing and yelling by our counselor as he looked at his now open door on the other side of the car. Someone had pried it open somehow. He looked directly at me and then the trail of food. Get hungry last night? No, it wasn't me. I just woke up. He started to run at me and I ran back into my cabin and slammed the door. It was then when I saw the footprints on the dusty floor. They were big prints, much too big for a human, but in human form. I moved away from the door and let the counselor in. He stopped yelling when he saw the print. Did you just draw that in the dust? Don't lie now. No, I stammered. He looked around the cabin and found some long hair that resembled dog hair stuck in one of the drawers. Do you know what this is? No, I answered. Okay, you're off the hook. Something is after our food. The next night we put the food in the big cabin and we all slept in there. In the middle of the night there was a lot of banging in the cabins and the car outside. Something tried to open the big cabin's door several times and stopped. Whatever or whoever it was smart enough to know how to turn a door handle. When we went out in the morning, there were huge footprints coming to and leaving from the cabin. I never went camping again. This is Spooky Boo. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this story,
head on over to my website at www.scarystorytime.com and make a comment on the post.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Introducing touch-free payments from PayPal, a safe way for your customers to pay. Simply download the PayPal app and display your own unique QR code for your customers to scan. Whether you're a market seller, poodle pamperer, piano tuner, or plumber, signing up to accept touch-free payments for your business is easy. Touch-free QR code payments. Shop safe with PayPal.
Introducing Xfinity's breakthrough Wi-Fi speed, now faster than a gig. And with X1, you get access to live TV and top streaming apps. Upgrade today. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary, not guaranteed. Requires compatible X5 gateway.
Welcome to Creepy, California. These true scary ghost stories were sent to me by anonymous listeners of Scary Storytime. To learn how to send in your own true scary stories, visit www.scarystorytime.com. Now let's begin. The ghost walks the hallway. I grew up in California where it's pretty warm here all year round, except for November and December. Most of the time we all sleep in our own rooms, but since we don't usually run the heat, we all sleep in the living room with the fireplace during those cold months. One time when my brothers and I were all camped out in the living room in our sleeping bags, we just couldn't get to sleep. All of us kept telling ghost stories and freaking each other out. Then one night in late November, we heard some kind of scratching noises in the hallway. We all stopped talking and looked at each other. Quietly, my brother, Ricky, went to the hallway door and listened. He said he heard scraping on the walls and whispering. Our living room is between two hallways. Our rooms are on the right side and our parents' rooms on the left. The noise was coming from our side. Ricky wanted to go get Mom, but I said no way. If there was something in there, she would only scare it away. The next day we didn't say anything to Mom about the noises we heard. We all talked for a bit, pretending like everything was normal. Then once again the scraping and talking started. It was more like a bunch of people whispering really loud. Ricky again went over to the hall door and opened it real fast. A quick burst of cold air blew in and almost put out the fire. He shut it fast, and I swear we heard something say, "Don't do that." The next night, Robbie had to use the bathroom really bad. Normally we would just use the one off the kitchen, but Dad had taken the toilet apart because my dumb brother dropped an apple into the toilet and flushed it. So he went into the bathroom down the dark hallway. About 2 minutes later, we hear him screaming. We all ran in and saw him staring at the other side of the hall. He was as white as a sheet. We asked him what it was, and he said that he saw some old man staring at him in the mirror behind him. We all looked, but there was nothing there. For the next few nights, we all heard it. There was walking up and down the hallway with a scraping sound. We all refused to use the bathroom. We're all boys, so we used the kitchen sink. We were less afraid of Mom finding out about the kitchen sink than facing the ghost in the hall. After that week, we never heard it again, until the next year and every year after. When I got older and went off to college, I looked up the history of the house. Sure enough, someone had died in that part of the house before the side was added. We still go back during Thanksgiving and sleep in the living room. We were really afraid when we were kids, but since it never hurt any of us, it grew less scary every year. But then last year, Ricky started to get scratches on his arm. Every time he goes to Mom and Dad's, he does. He swears he will never go again. The ghost in the window. I used to have a lot of slumber parties with my friends. They would come over and we would stay up all night long eating pizza, popcorn, and drinking soda. It wasn't until one night when we were prank calling people that we noticed there was someone looking in the window. My friend Kimmy screamed and pointed at the window. Whatever it was just stared. We thought it was a creeper, so my friend and I, as dumb as we were, grabbed a baseball bat and went outside. There was no one there. But then when we went back in, the face was still there. It was saying something like, "Help me," but there was no sound. The next night, the face was still there, but it was really creepy looking. It looked like there was blood all over it. It still mouthed the words, "Help me," yet still nothing was on the other side of the window. That night I went in and slept in my mom and dad's room. Mom didn't believe me, so when I told her it was there again, the next night she ran in to see. I was staring right at it, and this time it looked like its eyes were all gray and sunken in. She still couldn't see it, and she said she would take me to see the doctor if I didn't knock it off. She let me have my friend Kimmy over again that next night, just to see if we could see it. Kimmy and I watched as it screamed over and over again at us. This time no words, just screaming. We could actually faintly hear it now. We pointed at the window right where it was, and Mom said there was no way, and we needed to stop playing games with her. The very next day, Mom and I got into a car accident. They pulled me from the car first, and after, the car caught on fire. The face in the window just looked like Mom did when she was screaming through the window of the car. I will never forget that day, and it haunts me forever. Ghostly backyard noises. Growing up, we always had these huge family parties in the backyard until I was about 10 years old. Since we have the biggest Italian family in the area, there were always a lot of relatives and really good food. My Uncle Frank owned a local pasta house in town, and they would cater the party, as well as the people who brought over food to eat. They were huge. We had dancing and drinking. Most of us were drinking even though we weren't supposed to. I said this happened until I was about 10 years old. That was many years ago, but the reason why the party stopped is that my drunk Uncle Joe came over and started causing trouble. Joey was the bad seed of the family. He was only a teen, but he was into the local Italian gangs we had back then. He was always running errands for bad people. When he tried to come over, Uncle Frank told him he wasn't allowed. Uncle Joey then shot Uncle Frank in the stomach. People were yelling and screaming everywhere. My mom and Pop were trying to get an ambulance in time, but it couldn't get through the mess of cars in the driveway and down the road fast enough. Poor Uncle Frank bled out everywhere and died right there in my backyard. It hasn't been the same ever since either. They kept the restaurant open, but ever since the first party after, a year later, we just haven't been in the mood. The reason why is because first it was depressing, but then when people started leaving, there were only a few of us left, having a few beers and whatnot. My mom cleaned out the stain off the ground before, but while we were watching, we heard some weird moaning noises, and the stain came back right there. We all watched, really dumbfounded. At first we couldn't figure out what it was, but Tony, my brother, was like, "Isn't that where Uncle Frank died?" We all went running into the house. Mom was mad because we accidentally made her drop the plate of leftovers she was putting into the fridge. We told her and she went to look, but the stain was gone. That same night, I tried to sleep, but I heard someone that sounded like Uncle Frank moaning, "Help me," in the backyard. I watched out my window because it looks over the yard thinking maybe it was just a joke, but the stain came back. Since then I've changed rooms with Tony, and he says that he sees the same thing, but he ain't scared. He just says it's Uncle Frank's ghost. It terrifies me. Haunted beach. I'm 26 years old. About 11 years ago, my friends and I went to the beach at night when we weren't allowed. Some of the beaches here close after sunset, but that just makes them more fun. We would go to play baseball or just sit around and drink while cooking hot dogs. If we got caught, they only made us put out our fire and leave. One night it was really foggy, dark, and cold. My friends and I were sitting around the campfire telling stupid stories like Bloody Finger and Bloody Bones when we heard this moaning from this big rock that people sit on all of the time when the tide is low. That night the tide was so low that we went over and climbed up. In the other corner we saw this glowing human figure standing there out toward the ocean. He was moaning and rocking back and forth, staring into the water. He turns around and looks at us, then says, "No one can help me," then jumps. We all ran over and no one was there. At first we thought it was a real person, but when we called the cops, no one was reported missing or anything. Then they told us some guy had done the same thing years ago and jumped in front of his girlfriend with those same exact words. Grandfather. When my son was around 6 years old, we lived in this little townhome in Sunnyvale, about a mile from my work. We were really happy with it because it was so close, and all of the people in the groups in the townhomes were really nice. One day when my son and I came home from daycare, he said, "There's that man again." I was confused. I didn't know what he was talking about. So when I inquired, he told me that an old man was always walking around our house. He said he had a plaid shirt on with big hands. He was losing his hair and always smiling. I found this really creepy, and hoping no one was stalking us or coming into my house without permission, so I told him to tell me whenever he saw the man. A few days later, he pointed toward the wall and said, "Mommy, there he is." Of course, there was nothing there. So I told him it was probably just his imagination or a dream he had. A few days later, we were looking at old pictures of family, and he pointed to a picture of my grandfather and said, "There's that old man." I told him he probably had seen the picture before, and it just got into his head. Well, I had forgotten one little tidbit of info all of these years, and I suddenly remembered my grandparents had lived in Sunnyvale. I did a little bit of research, and they had lived in that same apartment decades before. There is something outside. There isn't anything I love more than a nice thunderstorm when I'm home alone, snug in front of the fireplace. That is, until I had to go to work one night in the most torrential weather I'd ever seen. I prayed all night there wouldn't be a tornado, because the building I was in didn't have a basement and no one else was around that side of town. I had to watch over a bunch of internet servers and take phone calls for an internet service provider. This was back in the 90s when most people were still on dial-up. Because of the storm, the systems were going on and offline all night long, so every few minutes I'd hear the alarms go off for the servers, then they'd come back online. The internet was constantly down, and no one was calling in, probably afraid to touch their phones or their power was out. I was bored out of my mind, so I started watching the lightning. Every few seconds, the lightning would strike, and it would seem to be daylight. The storm went on for hours, and at one point I was watching outside. I saw a little boy standing there, about 10 years old, wearing a yellow raincoat, standing right across the street. This terrified me, so I called the police and told them there was a little boy outside. They drove back and forth a few times, not finding anyone. Then a few minutes later, there was a little boy standing there again. Same place, but this time his face looked see-through with just 2 black holes for eyes. At that point, the lightning had calmed down a bit, and I tried to look a little harder. On the next flash, I was just about knocked off my feet when the same ghostly figure of the little boy stood right in front of the window. His face was hollow-looking, and he was crying out, saying something I couldn't hear. He was pointing toward the river and looking back at me, then was gone. I called the cops again,
And they said I probably dreamt it while falling asleep on the...
It be hard to watch your cash when the bands keep dropping. Got the big Ford on me, so my pants keep falling. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. I ain't even trying to talk cause my jaw keep locking. She ain't trying to be a freak, but them bands keep popping. Still caught up in the streets and the feds still knocking. It be hard to understand me, my jaw keep locking. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Fight down, fight down. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Fight down. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locked. I chew your little muck, I boot a nigga up. Got them snipers in the dually truck, and we tool it up. I be trying to change my life, but the monk on my back. I been rolling all night, I got a monk on my back. All about the moolah. Throw 100 chains on, tryna cool up. I know a nigga blessed, pray to God. Soon as the flow hit my feet, I'm getting high. Eyes rollin', looking crooked in the face. She keep looking in her drink, probably think the liquor lace. Nah, bitch, I'm 1K, and I'ma keep it 100. Biting down, bout to rip my tongue up. It be hard to watch your cash when the bands keep dropping. Got the big Ford on me, so my pants keep falling. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. I ain't even trying to talk cause my jaw keep locking. She ain't trying to be a freak, but them bands keep popping. Still caught up in the streets and the feds still knocking. It be hard to understand me, my jaw keep locking. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Fight down, fight down. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Fight down, fight down. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Sliding in the cutlass and you know I painted candy. Then I poured up in the bucket, but I used to want to hand it. And I'm pouring up the round, then I'm sipping on lemon. I ain't fucking with that white shit, I'm throwing it all in it. Pull up to the back, black Zach, Chief rockin' and the feds keep lurking cause the boys keep talking rich hard. Ran up on the plug about 40 times. 40 niggas strapped with the 49ers. Bite down, con hot. Got 2 twin bitches doing 69. Jump off to the moolah and you know that. 50 chains on, diamonds flashing like Kodak. I can't deny, baby, I don't want the wall, I just want the fed. It's hard to watch your cash when the bands keep dropping. Got the big Ford on me, so my pants keep falling. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. I ain't even trying to talk cause my jaw keep locking. She ain't trying to be a freak, but them bands keep popping. Still caught up in the streets and the feds still knocking. It be hard to understand me, my jaw keep locking. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Fight down, fight down. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking. Fight down, fight down. It be hard to understand because my jaw keep locking.
Hey, it's Pete from Chevelle here. You're listening to Self-Destructor off our new album, Neuradius. Click the banner to hear more.
Yeah. Hand hit records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo? I do not stay at the Intercontinental. And anything I got is not a rental. I own that motherfucker. Figured out this shit is simple. My stock been going up like a crescendo. A bunch of handshakes from the fakes. But nigga, I do not wanna be friends though. I tell y'all motherfuckers, man, this shit is not a love song. This a fucking stripper on a mean grug song. This a fucking boys forever hold a grudge song. Pop some fucking champagne in the tub song. Nigga, just because song.
What's the move?
can I tell the truth? If I was doing this for you, then I have nothing left to prove. Nah, this for me though. I'm just trying to stay.
Got a good thing going with a bad bitch. You know what to call when you need it. Wish I had another you, I'm greedy. Sometimes let a nigga get greedy. Goddamn, I fell in love with a bad bitch. You know that every time you leave me. Even though I know how men be talking, I just know that nigga wanna be me. Can't admit I fell in love with a bad bitch. Back then she ain't had shit. Now she grown up, she got ass tits. Wanna know what she got that ass at. She hit my heart a toot on it. She got a dump truck, I put a boot on it.
Coke wave 2. You know, man. Hey, pour me some more of that Hennessy right there. Bring my nigga Max. What up, Richie, baby? We got the whole wave gang in the building tonight. We got Young Ty. Got my nigga Pistol P. You know what I'm saying?
From the squeeze and the shots hit him in his face, open like a laptop, snatch box right by the windshield. Montana riding on these bitches. Money used to wave, get commission. Better listen when the boss talk. Niggas ain't working for the cold way. Bitches go both ways. Rose, OJ, down for the folk play. Homie, toast it up. Then let it rotate. Show stay clogging up the arteries. Money keep calling me. 2 tone 7 like Kuko. Blue toes, fresh out the box, get clean. Know we do the realest shit niggas ever seen. It's Montana beers. Ride through housing, white in the chain, most about 100,000. Headed to the top, mustard loaded in the chamber, horse the cocaine drop. Money your cocaine spot. Everybody hit the deck, need money, power, and flower. And we keep no respect. Gang green congregation, causing most of the complication. And we coming prepared for the compilation. It's blatant, got that underground waiting. The reason they spotlighting that underground stage, got that underground rage. Grease mustard in Montana, see some flow in the 750 stash boxes, hop scanners. Picture me rolling, matter of fact, picture me folding. That'll be the day, picture me swollen. It's not a God's plan, take moves from God's hands. Most niggas don't understand, they picture me underhand. Shit get easy with every swing. Gang green wave, gang, we destroying everything, avoiding everything. The D's in my way, slinging that coke way too. Montana send the plate, time to navigate,
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
Next day, no. Yeah.
You ain't gotta like me, I bet you your bitch does. Here you go again, look at how you switch it up. And if I ever fall off that track, pick me up, hit me up. My niggas, you get me up, fix me up. And nigga, I don't sip the gin, only do the brown boy. Better get a fifth of hand so we can drink. Let's toast, give thanks to the Lord. My nigga keep going back in strength, hit the ball. They tryna keep me for life, they gave me 24. And 20 tall niggas is hitting this honey ball. She said, Mac, what you ski on my tummy for? Get the washcloth, why you leaving me coming for? Chocolate pound cake, the bunny all. Chinky to all, Japanese bitches stuck on my arm. Record exec, say my stuff at the bar. Got the presidents with the princess cuts in my arm. Is you laying your baby, you slaying your rolling, shoulders tonight.
I got a 42 knot tailwind, basically escaping out of Michigan like a bullet. Basically a lot of tail, just straight ahead at 42, and we should be there within 300 miles. So 300 miles should be maybe like half an hour. We should be to the final destination. I should shut the stream down there, but as long as I have that plane in that general area, I'll continue returning it to that location because people are not going to go find it. They're not. The owner's going to know where it is, but regular people aren't going to go to the airport that I'm at to use the plane that's going to be available for me. This particular plane, which is a moneymaker. Like, I made like $3,000 on the trip between North Carolina and Michigan, so it's definitely way more money than before because it has a little bit more capacity. Like, it has 5 more passengers and up close to 2,000 pounds. I was about to take another trip before this one, but I was over 2 kilograms, so I couldn't use it. It was 1978 for the trip, and I could only carry one 1976. So I was I couldn't bear with the weight of the plane moving it or whatever. I couldn't fly it. It wasn't gonna let me fly the mission to get paid. But yeah, we should be there in no time. We're headed like a bullet to it anyway. It's just a private jet, a private G. This ain't a G2. It's a Lear jet, a 24. So it's pretty fast.
Stop to put you on, go far. Baby, that's that shit. Show me goofy love. Dark skin, the red bone. Hold me in the heavy. A lot more sinister. She want to be my porno star.
Trying to stop the battle, my co-op me. Niggas try to battle me. Ain't nobody stopping me. I'm low. I'm not trying to
Nigga, that dough ain't hers. That dough is yours. She drinking, getting me dipped down onto my drawers. Dippy walls, beat it in front of her homegirl and I get some claws. Sloppy head and slippery walls. Shorty even lick my weave down, ass up. That's the way that I like to fuck. Broken walk, sword jaw. Open your mouth and I'm out to nut. I found her fountain. She came out 3 times, I was counting. I pound her couching. After that, she gon' need some counseling. Bouncing, broad to broad, I'm not to be cat. Wall to wall, I got to be strapped. Girl on girl, I got to be next. Wet and sliding, nasty sex. Get them to ride and grab their neck. Get them a driver, ride them home. This is where I get time alone.
Shorty wanna do me bad. Get a picture too. He pull up in 6's boo. Double up on that hefty bag. Yeah. I'm the best dick she had. And a long way. I'ma say all my songs bad. I'ma say all my songs sound provocative. Mommy, how would you know? That shit you do is not marketed. I'm gon' spark again. Yeah. Roll me comes your crew. Get me nice and light. Pussy like get nice and tight. Cookies like I'm nice and light. fluffy like the biscuits that my mama when she pulled them out the oven, smelled them in the air. Bullets fly from everywhere. Ready, pull out a heavy year. Every year I was sitting in the penitentiary. Look at what was sent to white. Letters from these bitches saying bigger. You gon' have to go back in for conspiracy. One thing wasn't clear to me. Care to be, how can you niggas prepare to be something you can't see, smell it, touch it, taste. Hold on, my dress up the shit. I got a beautiful thing, mommy. I'm just trying to change. I'm in love with you, girl. I'm in love with you, girl. But I'm not trying to go home. I got a beautiful ring that's making a change. And a nice freaky girl. And a nice freaky girl. And I'm not trying to go home. Yeah. Now I'm dipping on that lane, gotta have a bird, driving up the interstate. Then I played in my car, got to break it down and back it up. Right before I hit the strip, gotta move low when I choke that bit. Gotta go low when I go for fifth. Broke that bitch, make it cherry more. Basement under the deli store. I'm really hard, better call that shit Bailey dog. Pop up on the scene, it's like that nigga on a mission for supreme reincarnate. Every weekend my mom stay, every weekend she goes to church, knows the earth, take it from the man, I know it hurts when them stones is on the dirt, when them combs is on the dirt. Nigga, you better tuck like a G. Nigga, don't be trying to fuck with me now. I got a beautiful thing, mommy. I'm just trying to change. I'm in love with you, girl. I'm in love with you, girl. But I'm not trying to go home. I got a beautiful ring that's making a change. And a nice freaky girl. And a nice freaky girl. And I'm not trying to go home. I ain't trying to stop the blood of my camaraderie. Niggas tried to bother me and ain't nobody stopping me. I'm not trying to go home. Young nigga do his thing, stupid niggas don't think, don't listen, don't blame. Stack those black holes, you can find me there, you can find me there. What are you saying? Go against the grain, in the feds, number B09, nigga, who the blame when you fucked up? Now that you got it, nigga, ride it out, better do your thing, stick the chain when you look ahead, looking clear, finish, try to take friends of mine, kings of mine, niggas speeding to that finish line, out of every hour, every minute, while you in it, get your money, get up out of it, ain't no love in the business, keep your niggas close, circle small, homie is love at the top, but it hurt when you fall, most of all, look homie, if you ask me, Montana Max me, niggas off the wall like a flat screen, fax me, papers with the signature, y'all niggas amateur, know we back to finish all the business, shorty wanna do me in, don't know when she gonna see me again, all my niggas play the way in Montana fit, I got a beautiful thing, mommy, I'm just trying to change, I'm in love with you, girl, I'm in love with you, girl, but I'm not trying to go home. I got a beautiful ring that's making a change. And a nice freaky girl, and a nice freaky girl. And I'm not trying to go home. I got a beautiful thing, mommy, I'm just trying to change. I'm in love with you, girl, I'm in love with you, girl. But I'm not trying to go home. I got a beautiful ring that's making a change. And a nice freaky girl, and a nice freaky girl. And I'm not trying to go home.
Up your game with award-winning free banking from Oxygen. Use single-use virtual cards to pay online. Get 5% cash back on gas, 5% cash back at Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and Walmart, and $1 on us for your coffee and meals. No monthly fees, no overdraft fees. Download Oxygen Banking on the App Store and Google Play now and get started in less than a minute. With Oxygen, stay extraordinary.
enough for me, no. Now let's take it from Tiffany. How the thing was from Jacob to Tiffany's. Could've kept it real with this real nigga, or kept your mouth closed, maybe we could deal with you. See, it's two freaks, the wife and the boss. Had all three of them liking it raw. Him put on weight from fighting them all. In the mall, you see it and like it, it's yours. That's a nice fit, you ain't got a price shit. I pays for it like the mice in the sauce. We pack big bags out of Saks Fifth Ave. Mr. Put them in the back with a fifth back. I need space for all of my women's. In these days, the arguing was limited. I replace the broad if she trippin'. It's deep game and all in the pimpin'. You got one, that's cool. Nowadays, everybody got two. That'll do, but I need another one. Yeah, then another one. One won't do, and it's not enough for me. Line them up. One won't do it, two is not enough for me, no. One won't do, two is not enough for me, no. One won't do it, two is not enough for me, no. Yeah. Let's see, I got one, got two, got. Tell me, do you got what I need? A fourth party that could run our team, you know. Keep them in line, cause one might need it. Easy the guy that your hun might creep with. She might do some freak nick shit on you. I keep to the beats and bone in them. Yeah, whole body blinging like 3PO, nigga. And when I pull that fucker out, it attracts the gold diggers with them big old jelly smokered out. Make Bill wanna tuck it in, but the truck got the fifth element like Tuckers in it. All you hear is them cuts with 10 inches beating like 15s. Why can I fit in them jeans? You seem like a true team player for real, love. Fuck with your boy J to the dealer, yeah. You got one, that's cool. Nowadays, everybody got two. That'll do, but I need another one. Yep, I need another one. One more and a two more. Not enough for me, no. Line them up for you, nigga. One, two is not enough for me, no. One won't do, two is not enough for me, no. One won't do it, two is not enough for me, no. One won't do.
$182 to go. Gas left, $3.90. for the follow. Hell yeah, I use them. I mean, there's no... The planes that you like, doesn't matter. Whatever the fuck they got, it's what I use. I like this plane, but I use a 2D cockpit. Zebos and anything else. You know, like... It's a personal thing. If the plane that you like is 2D, stay 2D. The Spirit Bomber is 2D. Most of the good ones are 2D. So I rather enjoy the 2D than pushing the limits of the, you know, than requiring high graphics performance. I don't need to fly with a highly graphical plane. Other people would just, yeah, whatever you need is still here. Like, you got lights, and this one you particularly don't have any ceiling panels, but you have lights, you have pump, and you got whatever you need here. You don't need that much. What do you fly on this game? I'm right now from Michigan to Pennsylvania at 473, which is like twice the speed limit for jet airliners, at a VFR flight with like 146 nautical miles to go. I like this plane. Oh, this is a Learjet 24. A Learjet, like a... Has like 5 seats. I like it. Makes enough money for me to grind. And affordable too. Anything else would be $1,000 to rent. It's not worth it. It's a Learjet 24. Yeah. Like the Citation X is crap. The Citation series, the Cessna Citation series are fucking crap compared to this. This has control at maximum speed. Like, you could control the plane at any altitude, at any speed. And maybe those conditions are working because I have an external PFD. Like, I paid an external $15 with my iPad to have a PFD. Because I don't have a PFD in this one. Like, this one doesn't have a PFD, or it doesn't even have a Garmin on it. I think I could pull up a 730, a 430 on it. Like some type of navigation on it. But it's just a really old FMC on there right here. It's like some old FMC right here. But the paid autopilot, like this particular program, the paid one holds its height, like holds its altitude at maximum speed. The previous, the Garmin that the game has, that X game has, does not hold altitude. I don't know, it just breaks. Like when it's doing the calculations, when, you know, like you're pushing maximum speed, you have to, within X game, X-Plane, you have to sort of like decrease the gas to like maybe 80%, 50% for some place to keep a particular altitude. With this PFD, it's full throttle. This thing locks. Like, it basically you just press AP navigation, and it does what, like, the Garmin G1000 does whatever the heck it has to do the maneuvers. I mean, it does have some, you know, obviously when you're going too fast, you take a little bit of time in banking or following approach procedures or departure procedures if you slam on the speed, but it holds, you know, like you could go fast and get to where you're going at a really fast rate of speed. That's why I like it. Citation X, what I'm doing right now, wouldn't be possible. Like Citation X, we just continue climbing, and you wouldn't be able to control at the maximum speed, or basically almost at 500. It's like 500 right here. This is 500 right here. Almost at 500, the current speed that I'm in. Citation X would have just fucking been to like 24,000 feet, 25,000 feet, and then I would slow down considerably. And I'm pretty sure this plane goes faster, but I gotta find the perfect VFR for it. I'm using 15 right now, but I'm positive there has to be between 10 and 12. You go faster than this. Like there's you in a straight line, at a lower altitude than this, you go a little faster because as you go up, you lose resistance, but you also lose jet power. Like the turbine outputs less power and stuff. So I still haven't figured out which freaking altitude gives me the most speed. But yeah, I like to play like this, man. Thank you very much for the follow. I like it 2D. 2D does what I need to do. I play FSC Economy and I use VATSIM. Right now, nobody's on VATSIM. But there was people on VATSIM when I left. Alright, so we have some people. Okay, so AJ's on an ATIS right here. KI, Kilo India Alpha Delta. There's someone still here at freaking 9 Zulu, 9:43 Zulu time. There's still someone out there. I don't know what the heck that person is doing, but they're still locked in, but not doing ground. I'll follow you right now. Hold on, linuxpilot.com. Oh yeah, I try to fly here as much time that I'm free. I try to get those hours in. Sometimes I get deviated and I play some other game, but I just try to do this because this is informational. You know, this is educational. You're actually, when these people start telling you, when you're looking at a freaking map and you have to read back precisely, it becomes more like an educational experience. It isn't. Right now, I'm treating it like a toy, like a simulator. But when there's people on and I actually get to play during the day, you have to sit there and wait and ask for the town for permission via park clearance, and then remember and read back correctly everything they told you, and then remember and read back correctly precisely where they wanted you to travel through the map, and holding short of whatever one would take off. They move their traffic differently. Each individual moves traffic differently, so you're listening to them, and I think it's fun. I think doing that is fun. I think it's pretty instructive. Linux Pilot, there we go. Follow. New Zealand. There we go. I just followed you back. Yeah, VATSIM is insane, man. VATSIM is another level. Like, I got into it maybe like 5 months ago. I'm into VATSIM and I bought everything. Like, I'm slowly throwing money to what I want to do with it. And it's extremely educational. Like, you're sitting there on a holding pattern and then you're waiting. Oh, you want to go VFR? No, I want to go straight. I want to continue the ILS or whatever. Like, you learn. I don't have a license yet, but it's something that you don't forget. Eventually, when I get more proficient in readback, which is what I'm lacking, because everyone's different. Everyone speaks totally different. And sometimes reading back is easy, or sometimes your brain is prepared to read back perfectly what they're telling you, like this and that, this and that, this and that, and then the frequency. And the frequency for everyone is really hard to understand what they're saying. So you're sitting there listening. Which one? What did he say? You're remembering the entire line, remembering sort of the final lines. Like, wait, 1, 2, and another number, .8. So you remember the .8 because it's at the end. But you know, it takes practice. Basically, if I were to wake up every day and play this every day at 8 a.m., I would probably get it perfectly. But, you know, I don't have the time to be up at 8 a.m. doing flights with towers or whatever across the U.S., which should be fun, you know, like doing that should be, if you know, taking it full time like that should be really fun. Like, we're gonna start going down. It should be really, really. I'm flying VFR, by the way, so don't get scared. We're just gonna grab a little speed because we're almost there. Let's VS down. I think I like it. I found it. I'm like, yeah, let's just simulator. And then it's like, yeah, simulator. And then, oh wow, now you could be a tower. Oh wow. No, and then now you could have towers, and towers could tell you what to do. Oh, nice. And then I bought the joystick, or not the joystick, but I got off the joystick into the yoke, and then it's just a total different world. Like it's a totally different world after that. Like once you, how do you call it? Once you're stable as shit, it's pretty impressive because you're basically driving it like with the joystick and the lack of rudders or whatever, you know, as you begin and you start acquiring more things to play. Because I got pedals too. I got rudder pedals and I got the yoke. So as you start acquiring more gear, the plane starts getting way more steady, and you could get immerse yourself a little more into what you're doing. Or I'm like 500 miles from destination. I'm 53 miles from destination, descending to 9,000 feet, and I gotta slow down significantly. Plugins that I use. If you're using a car, if you got a pedal for driving, this one X2 toe brake. The Oxross is alright because it tells you like if elevation, if you're about to hit something. This one is good. Terrain radar is good. Yeah, you're gonna find that terrain radar and Doppler, which is this one right here. Terrain radar and Doppler. There's passengers. Like you could you could start an FX2000 passenger, but you gotta look for these files online. Like some of them are not easy to find because these people, some of them they have updated their plugins so that you have to pay for them. Others have not, but you can still find them online for download. So you could just, the same way that you could download a free plane, you could get some of the plugins that are paid now because they have updated them. So yeah, this one, the Lua, is definitely, and I have a whole bunch of texture plugins so I could get good FPS. Like I have no shadows in the cockpit that you have to look for within the forum. You have to look for no shadows in the cockpit, no shadows outside. LOD, a particular LOD, this particular LOD, the 3J FPS wizard, so you could decrease everything, and because this game takes advantage of graphics cards, because it does. Like for some people, they have like the beefiest freaking fancy rigs, and it's still 20 FPS. Like it's still dropping. It's dropping their VATSIM network, and they have the latest graphics card. So you have to figure out what your needs are, and then basically massacre the textures within the game so that you can play comfortably if you're coming back or if you're not familiar with it already. I'm like no cloud, LOD control, shadow control. I found another particular LOD file that draws. All right, I'm approaching to my destination. That's my destination right there. I gotta see which one it is. It's one of these two. Let's see which one it's going to tell me. It's one of these 3 tiny airports. There's 3 tiny airports right here. I'm landing in one of these 3. I can't tell which one it is. I gotta see it on the PFD to lock it in. So yeah, I have a particular LOD plugin. Which one is it? That's KUT. That's KDLY. Wait, no, that's KUD. That's KDLY right there. The next one, right? That one straight ahead. If this one's the one to my left crossing, this one. All right, let's get out of here. Let's lower this shit down. AP. Let's get down to business. There's no passengers in this plane. Like I like to fly with passengers and that stuff. This runway is extremely short, and I'm doing VFR. Yeah, it's a really fast plane, man. I love it. Like you make a lot of money with it, and you can put 5 people in it. I'm not even looking or aligning with the runway right now. I'm just trying to slow down and align myself with the runway. Where is it? There it is. Freaking. So yeah, you have to there's a particular LOD plugin that as you move along, it sacrifices textures, not textures. It sacrifices structures, and replaces another one. So as you're moving through the world, some of them are removed and some of them are put in, and you gotta find that one. That one's a good one, and it's not one of the modern ones. I'm talking about old how do you call it? People made plugins, not like, you know, like user generated content, not something that you purchase. I use all that crap. Like I find all those user generated content ones through the forums or whatever, and there's a couple forums. I found this plane on another forum of X-Plane, not on a, I hope this is my fucking run, this is my airport. I'm pretty sure it is, but I hope this is it. Wheels are down. Like, you gotta keep looking. There's a bunch of plugins out there. You gotta suit your needs. And I gotta go really slow because this particular freaking airport is short as shit. And I don't want to drop from the sky or stall the shit like I am doing sorta right now. Little gas. I'm gonna end the stream right here. I landed super hard. Okay, I didn't explode it. Apparently, this is not my destination, too. That's so funny. This is not my destination. I'm still short. It was the one ahead. I got carried away. Yeah, I got carried away. I'm not in my runway. This is not my home runway. I gotta go to another one. That's so funny. I'm pretty short too on it. I'm still 8 nautical miles from it. I gotta take off again. Let's hope this runway has a connection here. Yeah, it does. This plane is short, fast, fun, controllable. It's basically everything you would want when you're making money in the FSC economy. You should try FSC economy. I mean, it sucks because you're going to be using small planes. You know, if you're going to start making $500 or whatever, like you're not going to start making $3 grand like I am right now, or $5 grand sometimes. But you'll get it. I'm still grinding. I'm barely breaking $30,000 right now, and each hour I use this plane, they charge me. So yeah, breaking. Let's see if I could go in reverse in the snow, because sometimes reverse does not work in the snow. Yeah, reverse is not working. Is it? Am I moving backwards? Yeah, I'm moving backwards. Alright, good. How much gas do I have? Hopefully I don't crash. Yeah, I still got gas. Yeah. I haven't tried the NOAA one. I don't know what the NOAA does. I gotta search for it in the forums. And I gotta take off now. Pretty funny. Gotta take off. Fast as hell. Gotta punch this thing to land on my destination, which is still 8 miles away. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Got it under control. It's inside the tunnel. Out we go. Alright. AP. I'm still 9 nautical miles from it. It's pretty funny. A lot of tow. Wheels are up. I got into the wrong one. I'm looking. I'm like, is this one? No, it was the one straight ahead. KDYL. All right, there it is. This is it. Jesus Christ, that's so funny. So yeah, APR. No, this is it. This one right here is it. This little tiny one right here. Yeah, there's a lot here. This is the tiny little thing I gotta land in. That little tiny freaking thing. Flying VFR. So yeah, this little thing is really responsive, man. Like, and there's a couple that are this responsive, and then there's some others that look appealing. They're like, yeah, I'm in a private jet, whatever. Ooh, hard, nah. Very bad. Very bad. Like, this is a very good control. Others, not so much. I lost the runway. This is it. This is it. Wait. Is this my runway? I completely lost it again. I'm running out of gas. Alright. 1, 2, 3. This one it? No, this is too big. This is not mine. This one? Yep, this is probably it. This tiny one right here. So yeah. Go really slow, put those wheels down. And align this thing with this tiny runway. Wait, I don't think I'm going the right way. This is not it. Well, let's turn on the AP. The AP is gonna get me there. I'm gonna crash this plane now. Alright, here we go. Now we're turning. See how much gas I have. How much playing around I could do. I got 76 nautical miles to go. And those go pretty fast. KDYL. Which one is it? This dark one right here? No, it's this one right here. I see it. This one right here. Alright. Let's go. windows are down. Luckily, there's no people here, just a jet pilot strapped. Little headwind on the landing. I'm gonna put you on the stream list, man. If you're still watching, I'll put you on the stream list. Whenever you play, your stream comes out on mine. This is a very, very, very small fucking airport, man. This is just tiny. It's tiny as fuck. This is as tiny as this bullshit gets ever. Nice. So yeah, I made it home. I made it to precisely where I want to go. Finished flight. My favorite plane is on my destination. I hope you enjoyed my stream. Hopping around Africa. It's alright. As long as you're flying, that's when it's important. As long as you got VATSIM, you're ahead of many people that think that they could fly. Trust me, I'm pretty sure there's real pilots out there that aren't doing what we're doing. Because even commercial pilots on videos, like literal commercial pilots on videos, don't read back fully, or there are certain rules to what they're making us do here. Like what they're making us do here is a protocol. Like it's just back depending on the type of situation. It's just straight back the same thing that you're supposed to do in the real world, like as realistic as possible is how they call this thing. So yeah, I'm gonna shut down my stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace. Peace. Nice. I haven't started with my ratings. I haven't started with my freaking P1 ratings. I gotta join a virtual fucking airline to get my P1. And I started reading on P1, like flaps on specific speed, the actual, like following the actual freaking, the actual SID or the star or whatever. And for the most part, that's all I know. And all that I remember precisely is the angle of descent, the precise location where you take your flaps, when you take in your flaps, when you take out your flaps, to pulling up the wheels, all that jazz. So yeah, I'm gonna shut down the stream. I'm gonna go to bed. I'll put you on my host list, and I'll host you whenever you decide to fly Linux Pilot. And I hope you have a good night. I'll be back hopefully. Depending, it could be tomorrow, but the thing is that I have massive papers to write, because I always get massive papers to write every week. So once I'm done with writing and with the other writing that I need to do, because I have to do all different types of writing every day, I'll try to sit here if I have the energy to fly 3 hours or whatever, like I did today. I hope you guys, or anyone else who came, hope you enjoyed it. Take care out there and enjoy your flights, because I definitely enjoyed mine.